We were dreaming about a perfect democratic society. And we thought that the obstacle is no longer here. The dictatorship system is removed. And we are already in a democratic country. After that, we started talking about democratic transition.
Press freedom is a cornerstone of democratic society, and journalism students who represent the future of the profession must remain committed to protecting that freedom. This was the message crafted by a group of American and Tunisian journalism students who worked together on a cross-cultural collaboration. The program began in 2019 when students from Western Washington University visited the Institute of Press and Information Sciences in Manouba, Tunisia. They heard from working journalists, scholars, and people who played key roles in the development of the country's free press after the 2011 Jasmine Revolution.
Something we are sure that we have is freedom of expression and freedom of the media. We are not quite sure about all the other outcoming of the revolution. We are not sure that we gained in economics or in welfare, but we are quite sure that we got a lot of freedom.
The students worked together on reporting projects, and they also drafted a joint statement of press freedom. That statement said, in part, that journalism protects the interests of the most vulnerable in society by giving them a collective voice that they might not otherwise have. Because of its importance, access to a free and fair press rises to the level of a fundamental human right.
How does journalism empower change? Like, what's the mechanism there?
Journalism provides information, and information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. When you have information about things that are going on that you don't think are right, you don't think are fair, you think are abuse of human rights, and that was how people are incited to make change, to go out and protest or vote or whatever.
If press can enact progressive social and economic change, when we talk about problems like rape, for example, it helps us to know the problem, so we act immediately.
If we don't know the truth, the different opinions of others through journalism, we will not be able to make the right choices, especially political ones.
It's like a fundamental aspect of the human condition to desire to know the truth about the world around you and to express the truth of your experience to the world around you. And so the freedom of the press kind of is like scaling up that fundamental human desire.
So through journalism, we know what to do, who to hear, how to react to certain topics. So yeah, you have to know, you have to have access to information, because through that you're gonna make change. So yeah.
Tunisia was a prime location for this project. In late 2010, a Tunisian street merchant named Mohamed Bouazizi had his cart seized by local officials. Frustrated by the continued oppression he faced, Bouazizi set himself on fire. This act of self-immolation sparked protests all over Tunisia, leading to the ouster of dictator Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. Tunisia's Jasmine Revolution led to the Arab Spring uprisings all across the region. Thanks to its robust free press reforms, Tunisia came to be known as the Arab Spring's greatest success story.
Freedom of speech was something great after the revolution. People did not enjoy freedom of speech before or under Ben Ali's regime.
Tunisia is a special case in the Arabic world. It's still the only democratic country in the region. We cannot compare Tunisia's situation, especially freedom of speech and press, to Egypt, Libya, or Algeria, for example, or other countries around the world.
Tunisian President Kais Saied froze the country's parliament and dismissed its government in 2021. A year later, a new constitution was approved in a referendum, throwing some of the revolution's hard-fought reforms into question.
So on the 25th of July, Tunisian President Kais Saied suspended the parliament, suspended the judiciary, seized all powers and concentrated them in his hands. And people got afraid of that, okay, so including journalists, okay?
In 2022, a Tunisian delegation visited Detroit to attend the annual conference of the Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication. While there, they met with international journalists and scholars to discuss the state of global press freedom.
But even talking about like freedom of press leads us to talking about access to information, which is the great asset in Tunisia, because we are free to access any information we want, which help us in our investigations and our daily work. So that's a plus for us.
I believe like Winston Churchill said, like history is written by victors. I believe like in this digital era, like history is written by journalists. So we have to be free in order to deliver like a truthful history and like honest facts. Truthful facts.
The changing situation in Tunisia occurred against a backdrop of challenges to press freedom worldwide.
What we see right now is a common denominator in the erosion of press freedom globally. So that is, in my opinion, it's impacting what is happening in the civil society. So a lot of people might be self-censoring. So it's not really legal or illegal, but people are playing it safe, regardless of what the law is in their respective countries. So it's something to keep our eye on because we know that journalism is really designed to inform communities.
And even in Arab societies, those lines might be, we speak of a lower ceiling when compared to Western democracies. So self-censorship comes from not knowing when they're going to be hit if they publish something that might be seen as not approved by the power center.
Like, what is the law? What is the interpretation of the law? And are you breaking it? To avoid that, I think a lot of people are self-censoring.
Even the United States has declined on international measures of free press in recent years.
I absolutely believe that journalists in the United States practice self-censorship. The New York Times is a perfect example. Pretty much every news outlet has their own style guidelines. So, for instance, when we're talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, there are only certain words that the New York Times is allowed to use when they refer to Palestine, to the Palestinian territories, to the West Bank, to the Gaza Strip. There's very specific language that can be used. We saw throughout the Arab Spring many journalists, citizen journalists, bloggers coming out and telling their stories and getting a lot of support outside of their own countries and within their countries. So in a lot of ways, I think that to ensure the freedom of the press, it has everything to do with keeping power in the hands of the people as opposed to in the hands of the government. So I think on a global level, as long as we keep power in the hands of the people, the public, and not in the hands of the government, that's how we can ensure freedom of the press.
Journalism education is one of the keys to protecting press freedom and democracy around the world.
Eventually, I see press freedom and freedom in general as an ongoing battle. It never ends. You should always fight for it and always try to defend it and preserve your freedom. The main thing is to teach students how to be good journalists, because good journalists will provide news and information that have been fact-checked before publication and verified, and that's essential. But also quality journalism, because we need that in order to maintain a press freedom. It does come with challenges, but challenges is where the growth is. So yeah, I'm go for it.